Yo, what's good, people? It's your boy Baba J, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today, we're going to be previewing the up and coming Arsenal versus Liverpool fixture this Thursday, and I'm going to be giving you guys my 5 reasons why I no longer fear Liverpool Football Club. But before we do that, let's head over to the BBC website so we can just have a look at some of the facts and figures around this fixture. So, of course, this game will be a late kickoff under the lights at the Emirates Stadium. I've seen Arsenal put out there that we're going to be doing some sort of display before the game. So I'm assuming that's going to be a light show, possibly some fireworks or whatever it may be, and hopefully a good tifo. Not a bad tifo that we did for the PSG game, but a good tifo. We can only hope and pray when it comes to this club. But so far this season, we seem to be getting everything right. So hopefully we can keep that up. But as for this fixture, let's have a look at the head-to-heads. So this season so far, Arsenal, of course, are sitting first in the Premier League. Liverpool are sitting fourth. Arsenal have accumulated a total of 48 points, while Liverpool have accumulated a total of 34 points, leaving them fourth in the table, which is not good considering that they're Premier League champions. And going into the season, they were looking like the favourites to win the league, based off of the fact that they won the league last season and all of the amazing signings that they made in the summer. When it comes to goals scored, in spite of all the firepower that Liverpool have up front, Arsenal are still outscoring them. We've scored 40 goals while Liverpool have scored 32. In terms of goals conceded, wow, this is crazy. We've conceded half as many goals as them. So they've conceded 28 goals, that's insane considering they still have Van Dijk and Konate back there. In terms of shots faced, it's not as big of a difference here as you would expect. Arsenal facing 221 shots while Liverpool have faced 203. Shots on target, we've only faced 102 in comparison to their 84, which is actually that's bad reading. I don't know what that says about Alisson, because if we faced 102 shots on target, which is more than they have, yet they've conceded twice as many goals as us. That's interesting, considering a lot of Liverpool fans would still consider Alisson to be a better goalkeeper than David Raya. In 2026, I beg to differ, but that is a conversation for another day. Shots off target is exactly the same, both of us on 119. And block shots, they've actually blocked more shots than us, 98 versus our 83. Passing accuracy is pretty much, pretty much equal here. And points gained from a losing position, we've gained 9 points from a losing position, and I don't think that's actually been one of our strengths this season. Although we've done it against Newcastle, was close to doing it against Sunderland, and we did it against Bournemouth the other day. I'm trying to remember the other game that we did it in. I can't really remember right now. And they have only regained 2 points from a losing position. And points dropped from a winning position, they've dropped more points than us from a winning position. So that is interesting. Let's move on to the form guide. Of course, Arsenal right now have the best form in the league, although here it kind of includes all of our fixtures across all competitions. So Liverpool are actually unbeaten. They're on an unbeaten run, but when you kind of delve a bit deeper into it, it's not great. It's a bit of a false dawn, if you ask me, and if you ask most Liverpool fans. So in the Premier League, I believe we have won 5 of our last 5. And as for them, if you look here, they've drawn their last 2 games. Fulham 2-2, Leeds 0-0. And then they had a good little run here where they beat Wolverhampton Wanderers, beat Spurs, and beat Brighton. So it's an interesting game. In regards to our previous meetings in all competitions, we've played 215 times, which is interesting. And they have won more than us. But in our recent fixtures, of course, they beat us earlier on in the season. That amazing Szoboszlai free kick. I wish we had played that game a little bit later in the season, as we still had both of us still had loads of players that we were bedding in. But I think it was just a very cagey game. Neither team were really going for it, and ultimately it was a set piece that separated the two in the end. Last season, towards the back end of it, Liverpool 2, Arsenal 2. I remember that game. I think we were missing. It was a makeshift back four, as far as I can remember. And then earlier in the season, it was another 2-2 draw. So let's look into some of these match facts. Against no side have Arsenal lost more Premier League games than they have against Liverpool. 26, which is level with Manchester United. That is not sexy, guys. That is not sexy. Liverpool are looking to complete the Premier League double over Arsenal for the 8th time and first since the 21-22 season. Their 7 doubles is already the most any side has against the Gunners in any competition. Hey, these stats are not looking positive. Arsenal have conceded in each of their last 820 Premier League games against Liverpool since the 0-0 draw in 2015. Only against Manchester United and Tottenham have they had a longer run without a clean sheet in the Premier League history, in our Premier League history. So this will be the first ever Premier League game between Arsenal and Liverpool on a Thursday, with their last Thursday meeting coming at Anfield in December 1947, flipping out, which was a 3-1 win for Arsenal. The Reds will be just the second team Arsenal have faced on all 7 days of the week. What a strange stat. Like, what's going on here, BBC? So yeah, to be fair, I'm not going to go through the rest of these because these are some strange stats. So that being said, the main reason why we're here is to hear my 5 reasons why I no longer fear Liverpool Football Club. And I just want to preface this by saying I absolutely respect Liverpool as a football club, as an institution, their fans, their history, everything about the club. It is very respectable, you know. But I think since Arne Slot has come in, he's done a fantastic job, you know, even though a lot of Liverpool fans are calling for his head. But a lot has changed. A lot has changed. And that may come as a surprise to many people. In fact, it does come as a surprise to me after the amazing summer window they had and after winning the Premier League last year. No one was expecting Liverpool to be in the position that they're in right now. A lot of us were thinking it was going to be, you know, pretty easy for them this season. But I guess Mikel Arteta and Arsenal had other ideas. So, guys, here are my 5 reasons why I no longer fear Liverpool. So reason number 1, and it's all to do with Arne Slot's system change. So last year, we all know Arne Slot took over Liverpool after Jurgen Klopp left. And Jurgen Klopp is probably Liverpool's most iconic manager in recent history, winning the Premier League once, winning the Champions League, and many domestic cups in between. No one could take away Jurgen Klopp's legacy in this country. I feel like he left with his head held high, and Liverpool fans still love him today. And he was a big supporter of Arne Slot. We all remember that famous chant, Arne Slot. Like, we all saw that. And it turned out to be a good decision. Well, we thought it was a good decision. But part of the reason why it was a good decision is because Arne Slot was still adopting a lot of Jurgen Klopp's ideologies and playing style. That aggressive gegenpressing, you know, a lot of the players that were there last season were still players that Klopp had signed, with a few additions sprinkled in that Klopp wasn't necessarily able to get the best out of. But this season, based on what I've seen myself and what I've heard from a lot of Liverpool fans, is that Arne Slot has strangely changed that system and has started to implement a lot more of a possession-based playing style. And with the losses of players like Trent Alexander-Arnold, Luis Diaz, who else left? Darwin Nunez. It seems like Liverpool are struggling to adapt to Arne Slot's new way of playing. And with the inclusion of a lot of new players into the system, like Verts, Isak, Ekatike, it seems like they're kind of struggling to implement what it is that Arne Slot wants them to do. And it's leaving loads of gaps all over the pitch, which is frustrating a lot of Liverpool fans, especially through the middle. Like last game, we saw what Fulham was able to do with that first goal. And it's very strange because it's very rare that you see a goal scored like that in the Premier League, where it's just one literally simple ball through the middle, which just puts the striker in acres of space. Like there was so much space that everyone thought it was offside. But when you look at the replay, it was very clearly onside. And it just goes to show one of the key flaws in Arne Slot's system. As well as that, he's trying to play a possession-based game with new fullbacks coming into the system like Frimpong and Kirkes, who are just not suited to that style of play whatsoever. So in regards to this Arsenal game, I do think there is a chance that Arne Slot actually plays Robertson and Connor Bradley instead of Frimpong and Kirkes, but we'll see. Reason number two is actually the fullbacks. So last season, I believe they were playing predominantly with uh, Trent and Robertson, although Bradley was in and around the team. And of course, these are players that know Liverpool and know the playing style of Jurgen Klopp inside out. And I don't think they struggled last year in that department whatsoever. Whereas this season is such a dramatic change from the players that they had playing fullback to the players that they're playing currently. Frimpong and Kirkes, although they are fantastic players, they aren't the kind of players that play in a possession styled system. And you can see that they're not the type of players that are going to invert and be dominating in the midfield. That's just not going to happen. And they're struggling. They're struggling. Every time I see them play, they don't look comfortable on the ball. They look nervy. They look jittery. Going forward, Frimpong looks good at times, but defensively, he looks vulnerable. And defensively and attacking wise, Kirkes just hasn't managed to find his feet in a Liverpool shirt. And I think that could be a major undoing for them because Arsenal this season, coming off of the wings, whether it's Bukayo Saka, Trossard, Martinelli, Noni Madueke, Arsenal look dangerous going down the flanks. And I think that could pose a massive problem for Liverpool in this game. So I do wonder whether Arne Slot will revert back to playing Connor Bradley and Robertson. But again, we've seen Saka have his way with Robertson many times before. So I do feel like that is a weak point within their team that Arsenal will be looking to exploit. Reason number three, the players missing. Right now, it's not looking good for Liverpool. We don't know whether Ekatike is going to be fit. It's kind of touch and go right now. I would say it's a 50-50 chance. But there's rumors circulating that one of their physios has taken him out of their FPL team, which is a very stupid and silly way to find out that a player isn't going to be fit. But if it is true, then I think that is good news for Arsenal because he seems to be their one danger man in attack this season. Although he didn't really do much in the game that we played against them at Anfield, we can't underestimate his ability, and he is a clinical finisher and will be able to pose a threat against Arsenal. So if he's not fit and he wasn't fit last game, then that's a massive plus for Arsenal. Mo Salah, we all know he's at AFCON, and even so, he hasn't been having a great season. There's been a lot of controversy with him on and off the pitch. And I think maybe this break away from the Liverpool team, away from Arne Slot, might actually be good for him. But either way, he's not going to be here. And no matter what Liverpool fans will say about Salah right now, he is still their most iconic player in this team, maybe outside of Van Dijk. And he's their danger man. He is. He's the one player in that team that no matter how bad he's playing, as a rival, I still have to fear him because he's earned that respect. And he won't be there in this game. So only God knows who's going to play down that wing. It might be Chiesa. We'll see. But either way, that person will not be Mo Salah, which is great news for Arsenal. And on top of that, Liverpool got rid of some key players last year. Luis Diaz, that guy was always a threat. Always a threat. And his pressing ability, his skill, his dynamism, like it's always going to be hard to deal with. You know, even though we have Timber down that side, you know, I'm happy he's not in this Liverpool team anymore. You know, and Gakpo, who's meant to be the guy who steps into that position, he's just not that. He's just not that same type of player. You know, like he's very predictable, and although he's got a good finish on him, 9 times out of 10 we know what he's going to do: cut in onto his stronger foot and try and curl it around the goalkeeper. I highly doubt he's going to get many opportunities to do that against this Arsenal side. So I'm not scared of Gakpo in the slightest, nowhere near how much I'm afraid of Mo Salah and Luis Diaz. Reason number 4, I feel like there's been a mentality shift at Liverpool. They went from being mentality monsters to slow-key being a bit cowardly. Like I saw Liverpool playing 9 men, 10 men, and then 9 men against Spurs. And Spurs were looking like the better team. Spurs were looking like the team that was grabbing the game by the scruff of the neck and building momentum. I couldn't believe that. That is something that you will never see in a Jurgen Klopp team. And the fact that I saw that this season against Spurs of all people gives me so much confidence that the mentality over at Liverpool right now is not looking good. Just in their last game, we saw what Harrison Reed came off the bench and did. This is a player that has largely been forgotten about. So for him to pick up the ball, have the confidence to shoot, and to score that kind of worldie against Liverpool, dagger, breaking their hearts at the death, pretty much the final kick of the game, you could see how much life that sucked out of the Liverpool players. So coming off the back of that, you have two choices. Either you respond and you rise to the occasion, or you let it kill you and break your hearts. And the way things have been looking this season, I don't think it's going to motivate them. I think it's going to deflate them. Liverpool know this year that they're not challenging for the league. They know that. So I think going to Emirates, it might just be a step too far for them, because the kind of courage and the kind of performance that you're going to need to put in at the Emirates to even get a result is going to have to be monumentous. And I don't think Liverpool have that in their tank this season. When you contrast that to the mentality of Arsenal right now, Arsenal are looking strong. There's been a lot of critique over Arsenal's performances, probably over the last month or so. But when you factor in the amount of injuries we've had, the amount of rotations within the squad, I look at it as mentality monsters. In spite of it all, we've still been picking up results. We've still been going to hard grounds, and we've still been getting those points, which is the most important thing. And that is just building the confidence within this Arsenal team. Winning breeds confidence, and Arsenal have been on a fantastic winning run, and I do believe it will continue this Thursday. Reason number 5, and this is not to do with Liverpool, this is to do with Arsenal. Arsenal at home are phenomenal. It has been a very long time since Arsenal have been beaten at home. In fact, this season at home, I think we've played 10 games and we've won 9, drawn 1. In this game, under the lights at the Emirates, light show before the game, the fans are going to be so up for it. And we saw what Liverpool fans did last year with the Arteta banner and all of the banter, and it's fine. Do you know what I mean? We were competing for the league against each other last year, and you lot had the upper hand. But this year, we have the upper hand, and you're coming to the Emirates. And we know Arsenal this season are on a revenge tour. Any team that has wronged us in the past, we are coming. We are riding out. And I believe that Liverpool, if they don't play their absolute best, are in for a spanking. And when you look at Arsenal's record with set pieces and Liverpool's record with set pieces, anyhow we get that first goal, especially in the first half, I think it could be a long day for Liverpool. I really, really do. But that being said, listen, Liverpool are still a great team. And in spite of their bad form and everything is said about Liverpool this season, somehow they still find themselves sitting in 4th, which is a Champions League place, which is good for them. Under the expectation of what we thought was going to happen, but it's still good nevertheless. So they're not a team to underestimate. But in my opinion, Liverpool are no longer a team to be feared from an Arsenal perspective. They're a team to be respected. They're a team to be wary of, but they are not a team that scares me in the slightest. And I do believe Arsenal are going to win on Thursday, and I believe the score will be 3-1. So I will be doing a watch along to that game. So if you guys are free on Thursday, well, you should be free. Like, you should be watching the game if you're watching this video. If you don't want to listen to those silly, rubbish Sky Sports commentators, tune into this channel. Kickoff is at 8 p.m. We'll probably be going live from about 7:30. So make sure you tune in. If you like, drop a follow, drop a comment, share, hype this video. Yeah, follow me on all social media. You can find me on Twitter, Babajide14, or is it Babajide on X? You can find me on Instagram, Jide Adetunji, and the same thing on TikTok. So yeah, looking forward to the game. I'll see you there. Peace.
It's what the world been missing right here.